Welcome to the video series on the startup journey. We all admire the success of startups, but behind that lies a lot of hard work, struggles, and sacrifices made by the startup founders. This is especially true for those who are developing solutions for the low and moderate income segment or the Bharat segment. These founders have received support from the Financial Inclusion Lab at CIICO, hosted by the Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad. To learn more about the Financial Inclusion Lab, check the description box below. Hi Ms. Lathika, we are glad to have you here. And just for starters, why don't you give us a brief description of your company?
Okay, so I run a company called MIMO. MIMO Technologies essentially aims at providing or taking products and services to the last mile, which means that we have basically a portal where you can push out work, and girls and boys who have mobile phones can register on our system as field officers and service the pin code they are in. This work that comes to them can be very simple work like logistics, or it can be a little more complicated like a form filling for an insurance company. So based on skill which we provide, we train the field officers, we provide them with skilling, and as they skill along the way, they can choose the nature of work that they need to do.
That's great. So before you had the idea of making MIMO, so what were you doing before that? So what was it all about?
Okay, so I was running an IT company, and I was working in the Latin American markets. Here in India, the difference between the banked and the unbanked only becomes wider, and the gap is stark because you need to have a bank account to use a wallet. And so with the wallets coming in, that gap's just increasing, right? Whereas in the Latin American markets, we've implemented wallets for the unbanked. Unfortunately, in India, we haven't been able to do so. So the only way to get people to believe or trust the digital medium, in my opinion, is when they earn on digitally. When they earn digitally, there is a sense of purpose. There is understanding that it's, education in the way we understood it may not necessarily be the only source of value. One can earn, and you can digitally equip yourself to contribute to society, and make a living.
That's great. But just a small follow-up after that. What was that one event or what was that instance which pushed you or which triggered you that you need to start your own company?
So like I said, because I was working in Latin American markets, I felt it was very important to come back to India and do something. Unfortunately, because I could not launch the wallet for the unbanked, I felt, like I said, the first way to do it was to make people earn on their mobiles, and therefore we started MIMO, where it's livelihood, people could earn, and that's what really excited me to think that if we can be a part of this growth story, where anyone in rural India having education or no education could earn in that village or in that district, it would be so satisfying. That was the driving force.
That's absolutely great. So would you say that this was the inflection point, or this is the one thing that actually pushed you that okay, now I have to be an entrepreneur? So that was all about MIMO and the company. But was this the moment which pushed you to become an entrepreneur?
Yeah, absolutely. I think of course, before this also I was running my own IT company. So in that sense, I've been an entrepreneur for a while now. But yes, to take on the challenge to work in India is essentially because I think there's a lot one can contribute back to society. And I think this surely was, the belief that this concept will work and will provide people with livelihood. And just the thrill when somebody somewhere, say in Satara district or in rural West Bengal, when they message you to say, I'm able to earn sitting at home, thank you. It's just so exciting.
That must be self-satisfying.
Yeah. Brilliant. I think that's what it is.
So Lathika, has the journey of entrepreneurship Has it affected your personal life? And if so, did you need to make any adjustments to to get used to it?
No, sure, there are lots of adjustments. I think you need a lot of determination, and it's checked on every day. Every day is a challenge, and every day you have to cope with the challenge in front of you. So I think in that sense it's very different from doing a regular job. It's the uncertainty of things, but you get used to it. And in terms of time management, it's tough because surely managing a house, kids, if it's a regular job, you can somehow predict how it's going to be. But I think when you do your own business, it's kind of more difficult to predict that regularity. So as long as you can mentally adapt and you're agile to say, no one day is going to
The
be
right
like the other,
keywords. Yeah.
then you can.
Yeah, sure. Because from my personal understanding, if you're doing a job, if you're a salaried person, then at least you have. It may not always be true, but sometimes you have this feeling that okay, yeah, I'll be done with my day-to-day work by
you
7.
can kind of predict your
Correct.
work, right?
Correct.
Whereas here, I think the biggest challenge of entrepreneurship is the fact that you have to be really have the ability to multitask in a varied range of nature of tasks. It could be business today, it could be operations tomorrow. You don't know, every aspect has to be on check. And therefore, I feel a lot of the strategy making and the ideas that come to you in terms of implementation or what operationally will work and will not work, these are all tested only when you're able to find the time to sit and think. And so it really is exciting, but it is difficult because you're not following a set path someone's telling you to do. Yeah,
That's true. So Lathika, coming to the next question, how did you build and manage a team in this startup environment? So obviously you had an IT firm earlier, and you must be managing a team there. But was it any different this time with MIMO?
Yes, surely. I think when you think of India, when you think of the skill sets that we have, one wants to go abroad. So managing a team for the Latin American market was fairly easy because you were sending people on site. The hope of traveling there, all that was very exciting. When you talk about MIMO, I think the biggest challenge or the most exciting, difficult aspect of it would be people who are interested in rural India. Not too many kids want to go back to. So I think that was a challenge. So I really had to look out for people who believed in this idea, who liked the concept, and who wanted to do it. I think that was initially a challenge. Even today, I would think it's only those who feel or who get that excitement, like I said, with providing people with a source of employment or a livelihood, Sorry, that's not employment, it's livelihood. So, and the minute people get that, I think that they stay on and get excited. So it's really looking for the right mix of empathy with skill.
And would you like to comment on your operations? Like, I'm just reflecting back to my conversation with Riaz from Bridge to Capital, and he mentioned something really, in a candid way that there's no HR in my team, I'm the HR. There's no finance in my team, I'm the finance. There's no marketing in my team.
Unfortunately, that's true. To a very large extent. I've of course built out now an HR. We've outsourced that, and someone's handling it for us. But yes, I do think that these are challenges. You have to find people who are self-motivated, to an extent, who understand that the kind of work that we're doing will give results over a period of time. So this is not for the kids who want a quick change in jobs or who want a quick, just who are only there for the money and want that jump. They value or cherish that experience, of setting up a network, of understanding how to train them, what kind of training content. So, you kind of look for the right skill level. Yeah.
That's true. So, Lathika, we've already talking about the financial inclusion lab.
Yeah.
So, just circling back to the FI lab, how have accelerator programs like the financial inclusion lab itself, how have they helped you as an entrepreneur or MIMO as a company?
So they've helped immensely, and I'll tell you why. Because when you're an entrepreneur, I think you're a little bit lonely. There are days when not everyone understands. There are good days and bad days. On the bad days, you feel everything's terrible, right? And you need somebody to say, no, the vision is right, stay on track. So I think accelerator programs, for one, help you sort out the bad days, for sure. Number two, there is somebody else, especially with this particular accelerator program I was in, multiple people were involved in the business in a way that was really beautiful, because they got as involved in it as I was, right? And so the discussions, the kind of sessions we'd have, the kind of issues we'd talk about would really help or benefit the company. So I think in that sense it was fantastic. Also, I think to a very large extent what happens is when you share an idea and you have someone else thinking for you, you're also able to see the negatives, right? You're able to see what's going wrong or where you can tweak something or how the processes can be realigned. So I personally benefited a lot at an individual level, but I think from a company perspective, I think the team did too, because they kind of got clarity, and sometimes you need that validation, when you're dealing with, let's say when you're going against the trend of going out of India, or expanding on a service line that's rather in difficult markets, I would say. And with when you're talking about grassroots level or last mile level, there's so many challenges, even basic things like connectivity. So when you're able to discuss it in a group and brainstorm it, you just get validated that it's going to work.
And also, I think there's just one more point that I'd also like to add. In a program like that, I don't think one should feel that they are lonely. The reason being, if I'm not wrong, along with you, there were either 9 or 10 other startups with you in your version.
Sure. So that's what I said. It helps. It helps the validation. It helps to say that yes, these challenges are faced by everybody. So you'll kind of cope. It'll happen, and so there was validation with it.
There are other startup founders as well who are going through the same journey as you.
Yeah, so it's nice to have.
Lathika, now I have this one question that I am actually really interested in, which is, what were some of the key challenges when you started out as an entrepreneur? Because the list could be infinite.
Personally for me, that's what I can share. Two challenges that I would come to my head straight away. One is funding. I do think that to get the right investor is very important. It's not okay to have as your investor the first person you meet and who liked your idea and said, okay, I'll invest. I think it's very critical to align your thought or your vision and to have the investor completely aligned with it. Why do I say that is because a lot of the investors can give you lots of ideas, can insist on some actions to be taken, but they may not necessarily be the right thing for them. So I do feel the biggest challenge as an entrepreneur would be looking for the right investor. And I think when you start off the business, you just are so excited. But whoever wants to invest, you take on from whoever. And that shouldn't be done. You should be able to have the ability to ask the right questions and really see who the right investor is. That's one. Two, I feel, there's a major point being raised as a single founder. And especially, I think, as a woman, I do face this a lot. And I don't necessarily say it's bad. I'm not saying it's wrong. I mean, these are thoughts that come to anyone. But I do feel that it throws a unique kind of challenge because we do know that it's not difficult to make multiple partners at work. It's not, because you do find people who align, you do find people who kind of think similarly. But I think what's more important is to have the kind of determination or the kind of focus, because it's not easy to get a consistent response in terms of which is more important, profit or impact. So I think when you cater to questions like that, it's very difficult in a whole to do both of these things, to be a single founder and then raise funds, right? Because it's not everyone who understands impact the way you understand it. And I think what's very important is I'm not in a hurry to scale, but what I am in a hurry to is to have that impact from day one. Because if that's not consistent, then one cannot really scale a model correctly, right? Am I answering that question?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So, Lathika, despite these challenges, what was that one factor that kept you motivated and inspired that, okay, I need to build this company and I need to ensure that this business grows?
Actually, I don't think about it like that at all. I like it so much. I like what I do so much. I believe in what I do so much that there's no other way, right, to my mind. And in spite of all the odds, I think, you do confront quite a few, I have to say, quite a few difficulties. But if you don't face them, what's the fun? Yeah. And I think I'm very determined in the sense that I really like what I do, and the kind of thrill it gives you when people get work and people respond well, it's comparable to nothing. So you just hang in there.
That's absolutely great to know. So, Lathika, with all of this, with all of these insights that you just shared, those lead to one final question that I have for you, which is, what suggestion or what recommendation would you like to give to someone who is, trying to venture into this sector or this business, or maybe build a startup of their own?
I think there's just one real aspect, is to be determined. If you're determined, no matter what comes your way, you will find a solution. I think determination, persistence rather. If you can be persistent, and determined, that's what's going to get you result. But one has to, because like I said, even on a bad day, even when things aren't going right, or you may face funding issues, you may face team issues, all of them I think have a solution, right? So as long as you can persistent, you can be at it, you will find the right solution for yourself. Yeah, I don't know.
No, that's I couldn't think of a better way the way you articulated this answer, but yeah, I think that's definitely true.
Yeah.
So with that, I'm really thankful to you, Lathika, for sharing these insights. So at the end of the day, I really hope that it helps someone, or maybe a budding entrepreneur who is trying to step into the startup ecosystem, or maybe either they are planning to, or maybe they are skeptical, or maybe afraid to start their own business. I really hope that.
I don't think there's any space for fear, and I don't think one should be fearful at all, because if you don't do it, I don't see any other way. So I do think I would motivate everyone to start, at least give it a try. I mean, you have to. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lathika. We wish you all the best for your future.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.